Currently it's more than a windsail than a hammock. Hopefully we can fix that. Dub C here, we're back another Survival Saturday. I'm out here doing some more cold weather camping. It's really cold, it's really windy, and I thought about it. I've stayed in a tent in the snow, stayed in a natural shelter, I got my winter shelter, but I've never tried hammock before. So I was looking at my Gold Armor hammock, I figured I'd give her a shot. Not sure how it's gonna work out. It's not recommended that you hammock camp under 40 degrees Fahrenheit, unless you have underquilt, but I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. I do have my Gold Armor tarp to try and block the wind, and I also have a reflective tarp so I can have a nice heat barrier. But while I'm out here, I always like to review some gear and eat some food. For the gear, this couldn't have came in a better time. Kemimoto actually sent me some battery operated heated socks, so I'm really excited to try those out, especially tonight. Probably going to need them. And then Super Sparrow sent me a couple samples of their water bottles. So I got this type, and then they also have some insulated line that have like a cold 24 hours, hot 12 hours, you know, type of lock temp technology. So I'm really excited to try that out. For food, I'm gonna be making surf and turf over the fire. So let's go ahead and start getting this hammock set up. Okay, first thing I had to do is identify a couple of trees with the proper spacing. I fought a lot with that when I first started using a hammock. You gotta have the proper spacing. Once I had that, then I started looking around for any deadfall. If you have any widow makers in like that, with it being so windy, you do not want to be camping underneath them or even around them. If they fall, you're in danger. So always make sure there's no widow makers around. I cleared that. I got a nice area right here. The wind is coming from that direction this way. So I'm going to put my tarp down as a barrier, and then I'll be placing the hammock between this right here. So hopefully it goes all right. Okay, I got my windsail / hammock up. Now I'm going to test it out. Make sure that I got, I want to be about 18 inches off the ground. I want to try and make a little bit low profile, but we'll see. And that works pretty good. It's sitting pretty good. I like exactly where it's positioning. The wind's at my back right now. So now I just got to set up the tarp and get a nice wind barrier. And then I'm going to have a long fire, just a traditional long fire, about 6 foot long, right in front of me. And then I have the reflective tarp that I'm going to set up and hopefully reflect that heat back onto me. Now, you're not supposed to hammock camp, or typically it says under 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It's supposed to be single digits tonight. I don't have an underquilt. There are such things as underquilts. I did bring an extra sleeping bag that I could probably affix to the bottom. I just brought a couple options because, you know, worst comes to worst, I got to make this work. I can tell you it's not going to be a lot of fun setting this tarp up in the wind, but my goal is to have a nice angle where it deflects the wind instead of like holds it, and then I can hold the good heat from the fire. So let's try it out. All right, I got the perfect angle on my tarp. Now I'm just going to fill the back end with snow so it has that kind of protection. I'm just using all the snow around it to fill this back up, weigh it down so that wind just goes right against it and doesn't come underneath it. Just getting out of the wind for a second. This is definitely working out. I don't feel any wind in here. So at least the tarp is doing what I need it to keep the wind off me. Now, if the wind changes directions, that would be a bad story. Okay, I got the hammock set up, the tarp set up, got a nice wind barrier. I also put some of the snow against the bottom, just like I did on the outside. But now it's time to get the bed set up. I want to get the sleeping bag set up so the insulation gets aired out and gets to its full efficiency. So I'll be using the Thermarest pad first, try to use that as a barrier from the cold, and then I'll throw the sleeping bag on top of it. I'm going to add my camp pillow so that gets aired out as well. I purposely have more cover by my head from the tarp on this side, you know, obviously to try and control the wind and minimize the cold, at least up there. And then down here, just my feet, and hopefully those heated socks work really good. One little tip for, you know, if you're coming out here setting stuff up and you have your sleeping bag, I always stuff all the other bags inside the biggest bag. That way when you tear down, you have everything, you can pull all your bags out. Like, I can put all my Thermarest, all my tarp, hammock, anything that I have that's loose from the setup. Just goes in the sleeping bag and you got it for when you need it. Okay, I found some deadfall that's actually a little bit too close to camp, so I'm going to take that out real quick. Well, at least I got a lot of firewood for tonight. This is a pretty cool setup. I like to be able to sit in a hammock and kind of chill out, get off the ground. And that's one thing I thought hammock camping would be nice, is you're actually off the ground. Because when you sleep on the ground, there's a lot of cold from it. The downside, obviously, with the hammock being up in the air is the wind, just no insulation, you're getting hit by all that wind. I'm hoping this will block it. And I'm hoping that I can get a fire to actually get some heat in here. But I am thirsty, so I'm about to bust out one of these bottle. I actually got a couple with hot water and a couple with cold. This is the Super Sparrow 1,000 milliliter. Basically the sports bottle. It has three. They have three options. This is the sports bottle, and then I really like the fact that it's 1,000 milliliters because of the fact of you know, most purification tabs, water purification tabs, call for 1 liter. You know, 1 liter, right? So it's got the logo on the front, which says Better Water, Better World. So that's really cool. The Super Sparrow. I really like the logo on itself. And then on the water itself, there's actually a lock and then a button. And that releases. And I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. The cool thing is there's a valve right here. It's like a sealer rubber piece. It looks like a suction cup inside, and there's also like a little rubber piece right here. They come with the replacements. And another cool thing about this is you can put ice in it, or, I mean, say if you did the water purification, it comes with a screen. I thought that was really awesome. You know, if you got like heavy debris water and you don't have a cotton cloth or anything to filter it with, this is a little bit of added screen. And then it screws back on. But really high quality bottles. Says that they are, just reads off the box, leak and spill proof, BPA free, one-handed drinking, and just the button lock. It's really cool. So he's popped that open. Awesome. And it's got a little hook, so you can hook it to your backpack or anything, you know. So it'd be great for hiking, you know, outside, outdoors, working out. I can see myself using this for a lot. So this is a really cool bottle. I really like the sports edition, but the other two are actually insulated. So they are, I'll show those later, but like I said, I put hot water in them. Hot water lasts 12 hours, cold water lasts 24 hours. And I think they're dual layer insulated, and I think they're also stainless steel. So just a different option, and they come in a ton of different colors. And then the measurements on the back. I mean, this is, when they sent them to me, I was really impressed by the quality and the thought put behind them. So I'm really excited to have this one for more adventures, especially the summer adventures. And then I'm really excited to test, you know, that hot water. Like, one thing I thought about was if I put hot water in one of these bottles and you keep it with you, it's nice. But what if you could put hot water in like obviously a thermos or these insulated bottles, and then you could have warm water, because it's not good for you to drink cold water when you're cold. It's better to drink warm water. It's easier for your body to process. So a lot of cool options. Next thing I want to do is put this reflective tin up, or tarp. This is the Arcturus heavy duty survival blanket. I got it for a bunch of reasons. It's, you know, it's obviously reflects heat, windproof, waterproof, and it's kind of like a survival blanket, they say. But it's a 6 foot by 7 foot tarp. So I want to put that behind me right here, like tie it up, and then all the heat coming from the fire should reflect back on me. Okay, I got the reflective tarp all set up. It was actually a little bit easier than I thought. I actually used the leftover line from the tarp and just secured it up. And the goal was to, when I sit down in the hammock, to be basically even with this, and then at the bottom actually curved it up so the heat will hit this and roll up towards me. So let's see how well it works out. It's time to start a fire. And in last Survival Saturday, I did mention, like, you want to find some deadfall that's hung up on other branches. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Nice, dry, even though it's cold, all this dry kindling just sitting here. And you just got to pick the smallest ones. But this is what you're looking for. Down there, you'll see that's all covered in snow. It's going to be a lot harder to get started right away. That's something you'd burn after you get a nice fire going. This is definitely the kind of stuff you want to get it going. When I took that big deadfall down, that Widowmaker actually had a lot of loose bark on it. So I'll be saving some of this, but it makes a great base for a winter fire. And it's a good fire starter as well. So today, I'll be using a Magbar fire starter. And basically it's just a magnesium bar and a flint rod. You're supposed to be able to scrape off the magnesium and ignite it. So let's give it a shot. Basically got your magnesium bar. Looks like a scraper edge and then a striker edge. So let's try it out. One thing I'm noticing right away is you got to take off this because there's not enough slack. So you got to take that off so you have this free. I thought a bow drill was hard. This thing, I've been scraping on it for a couple minutes, and I only have a little bit of pile in there. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but I mean, as I scrape it, I'm getting better at it and trying to get the shavings down there. All right, so I got a decent pile of shavings now. Now let's see if I can get it to ignite. Okay. And it's done. So you definitely have to have tinder with this. It just ignites, and it burn time was like super fast. So I'm just going to get some tinder real quick. It's another one of those things that I just think a ferro rod would be easier with some tinder. Temperature's dropping fast. I got to get this fire going pretty good. And I got it set up so I'm actually marked off to the left. I want to burn it long fire right there, and then when I come over, it's about 6 foot right over by my knife right over here. Start working on my long fire. Now long fire is just about a 6 foot fire, and it just encompasses tries to get all the heat kicking this way, and I'm testing out the reflector right now, seeing if it's actually working. You can definitely feel the heat. Feels real nice. No wind coming through here, and I can feel the heat coming off this reflective barrier too. So should work out okay. Okay, it's time for dinner. I got this cup on here. I'm actually going to warm up some butter because it's time for some surf and turf. So I got some filet mignon steaks and some shrimp. We'll be grilling that in just a moment. Also got a lemon for the shrimp and some Montana steak seasoning. Wanted to try that out. So I got the cup on the coals right now, and they are ready to cook, and I'm melting some butter off. Okay, I'm going to get the steak on first because that takes the longest. It takes about 13 minutes for the steak, and about 6 minutes for the shrimp. And all I did was cut it in about a 1/2 inch slabs and put them on some skewers. I'm going to put some of this butter on it so it doesn't stick right away. Put that back on there, and then we'll throw these on. All right, now that that's on there. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more butter just to the top. Not like a lot, so it's jazz it up. In about 5 minutes, I'll flip it, and then wait a little bit longer, and then I'll add the shrimp, and hopefully get done about the same time. Have a little surf and turf. All right, easy does it. Oh yeah. Now we do the same thing on this side. Add a little bit of butter. Just keep that butter going, and we're gonna add the seasoning. All right, steak's about done. I'm gonna let the steaks actually, after it's complete, I like to let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes. So that way, like I said, the steak's almost done. We'll get the shrimp on now. Do the same thing. Before we add them, just get a nice coat of butter on the side. You can coat this side and add some seasoning. The filet mignon is done. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes, and by that time the shrimp should be ready to go. Okay, the shrimp's all done. Steak's done sitting. It's time to eat. Go ahead and pull this off real quick. There is our shrimp. I just like the steak seasoning. It's like garlic, red pepper. It's everything I like on there. I might add a little lemon. It'll be perfect. Steak looks very tender. Look at that. Go ahead and give that a try. It's extremely tender. The steak seasoning goes perfect with it. But now I'm going to try some of the shrimp, but I cannot get over how tender this is. You can almost cut it away with this spork. Okay, time to try out the shrimp. Add a little bit lemon juice. Here we go. Oh man, I don't know what's better, the steak or the shrimp. Both extremely tender, perfectly seasoned. They go so good together. Best time to get that mega bite on. There it is, the ultimate surf and turf mega bite. Shrimp and steak. Wow, just absolute perfect mega bite. Two great things, and it's also keto friendly. So I'm going to save this little bit of steak left for steak and eggs tomorrow. Just had an awesome dinner. I had to cut some wood for the log fire. I cut that big deadfall up in chunks. I'll be using that for tonight. But I want to check out one of those other water bottles. See if that water's still warm that I put in it earlier. All right, so this is another version. This is the Super Sparrow smallmouth. And it's more like your traditional bottle. It has like a neoprene cover that probably helps insulate it for as cold and hot. It says it's good for cold 24 hours, hot 12 hours. And I put hot tap water in this, I want to say about close to, I'd say 8 hours ago. And it's still pretty warm. That's very impressive. I mean, it's really cold out here, and it's sustaining. I didn't boil it or anything like that, but hot water, it's still very warm. That's very, like I said, very impressive with the cold weather I'm experiencing right now. So just a couple points about it. It's a pro-grade stainless steel, sweat-proof finish. So it's got this finish. And again, these all come in multi-colors. I'll put a link down below in the description, but I recommend all these bottles. Like I said, the quality. Again, there's another, there's a rubber piece right here, and then there's a seal inside, like a plastic right there. They give you spares in there with all of them. So if you lose it, you get a replacement right there. I mean, that's customer service right off the bat. But if you like cold water, keep it cold. What I want to use this for is I want to boil some water, put some hot water in there, and that way I'll have water in the morning. It doesn't necessarily have to be hot or like super hot for coffee. It'd be cool if it was, but it's just, water freezes out here in these cold temps. So if you can put some water in here, you have you don't have to worry about trying to sleep with it, because it always concerns me trying to put water in your sleeping bag. If that breaks open somehow and you're wet, that adds a whole nother level of survival. So I'd like to have something you can just put the hot water in, set it outside or set it anywhere, and then wake up, and then you at least have unfrozen water, but I'm assuming it'll probably stay pretty warm. So that's the smallmouth. And then there's a bigger one This is, again, this is the 1,000 milliliter. And it has 2 tops. Made of the same material. Comes with the same kind of jacket, same finish. This one's green. And it has a sport top on it right now, but there's also a screw-in top. I have to find it real quick. But this actually comes with like a carrying case also. So that's really nice. And then again, this just slides down and wash it out. And this tests that water. See if that's, again, it's warm water. You can see the steam coming off it. So that's water, hot tap water I put in there about 8 hours ago. And it's still not, it's still very warm. So I would definitely say that hot water is staying in there, but again, I'm going to boil some water, put it in smallmouth, and I'll have water for the morning coffee without having to worry about it freezing. But I'll definitely be using all these bottles for other adventures, and I recommend anybody that wants a nice water bottle, or these are like insulated. Let's see, there was one thing. And this says they're also lifetime warranty. They're convinced, we are so convinced that Super Sparrow is best double wall vacuum insulated bottle that they'll guarantee every bottle limited lifetime warranty against manufacturer defects. And that says a lot right there. So it's a precision double wall technology, lock temp. So really cool bottles, and I hope to get some other uses and try other things. But I like the fact that you can just drop, if you needed water right away, you could drop a water purification tab and fill it. You get 1 liter water. Usually the tabs are for 1 liter. Not all the time, but it's just really cool. I'm very impressed with the heat reflection. It is really warm here, away from the wind and the tarp, and then the heat is coming right in and staying in here. So that's really nice. When I go get wood or, change something up outside, I got to put back on layers like instantly because it's really cold out here, but you cannot feel it in here. It feels great. All right, so I boiled some water. I'm going to put it inside this bottle and see how long it's almost bedtime. But this is the wooden top for the big bottle. It's really nice. And then I emptied this bottle out, and then we're going to put some of this boiling hot water in there. And I'm just going to let it sit out here and see how it see if it's hot in the morning. Because it's really cold outside. I'm hoping it can sustain the temp. Oops. I'll seal it up. Boiling hot water. Now it's time to check out those socks. All right, the best place to show this is in the hammock for now. So this is Doohan since 1999 socks. These are heated socks. Kemimoto sent me pair of these to try out, and I'll put a link down in the description below. They come in small and large, and you open them up, and initially there's 2 batteries you got to charge, and once you get those charged up, you can actually sync them to a remote. So there's actually a remote to these socks, so that's really cool. There's a high, medium, and low, and 2 batteries that look like they're very versatile as far as going against your legs. One thing I was concerned about is when you put it on the sock, are you going to feel the battery going against your leg? Not sure, but definitely going to try them out. So this is the sock itself. It has a carbon fiber bottom, and actually warms up here, and then heat goes up. The sock is made out of cotton, and then on the side is where the battery goes. So you take the battery, and it comes with a charger and these 2 batteries, and then you just basically plug that in like that. You would turn it on, just got to hold it, and you have some green lights that pop on. Now this is what's cool. This is the remote. You can change it with that. So that's high, medium, and low. And once I'm going to put them on low because I believe that's the best run time. I don't want to turn them off right now because I just want to show them. So you just hold the button, turn it off. And you can also change the heats on this one right here. So if you can go high, medium, low right there. So you don't have to have the remote to do it. Overall, it comes with the remote, It has a charger which can charge both batteries at the same time. And then it has the 2 socks and instruction manual, kind of going through, you know, what's supposed to come with it. Little tag. And the 2 socks, and then the carrying case, which is really cool because the 2 batteries actually fit in here. And then you can throw the remote in there, and then put the socks in there, and you have your package ready to go. Now, I have the batteries in the socks. I'm going to get ready for bed. I'm going to put these on, and I'll turn them on and see how well they do. And there's also like a left and right. So left foot, right foot. And that's probably just more efficiency on the heating pad. You can feel the heating pad in there. These are machine washable or hand washable, so no big deal there. Like I said, I'm excited to see how well they work. Got my socks all on, and now at first I was like, they're not working. Then I gave it a little bit, and boom, that heat pad on the bottom started working really good. And then I don't even feel the batteries on there. So there's a really nice. It's time to get set up for bed. Okay, it's bedtime. Just stoked the fire. Just got in the hammock, and I tell you what, I'm completely warm. The sleeping bag is doing the brunt of the work. The thermarest pad definitely keeping the cold. Don't feel the cold on me. And these socks, holy moly, they're going to heat the whole bottom area. My feet are really, really good. Medium is too warm for me, so I'm going to hit once with the remote, and now it's on low. Yep, I can feel it right away. That is so cool. So I'm going to have this remote, and if my feet get cold again, I can turn them back on high. I got a little pouch over here. Got my pillow. Kind of exhausted. The hammock tarp setup was, I thought it would be easier, but I was a little out of practice. Haven't done it in a while. But still a great day. And I guess it's lights out. Okay, it's morning time. It was definitely an interesting experience sleeping in a hammock in 1 degrees out. It's currently 1 degrees. It snowed. Updates on the socks. They worked the entire night, and they kept my feet warm the entire night. I didn't have to worry about my feet at all with the heated socks. So a huge bonus to that. I did have to get some hand warmers out, and I put them in my gloves. And I also had my Arctic coat. I was laying on it. I brought it over top of me to cover my head, to keep my head warm. But with the fire going, I didn't have to worry about the bottom getting cold, like the bottom of the hammock. As soon as that fire went out, I knew. But this is definitely the hardest trip and the coldest trip I've been on. And again, I just learned a lot. Luckily, the sun's out and fire stoked. But it's time to get some coffee. Okay, so I had to switch to my camera phone real quick. The camera I had was like 100%, but because of the cold, it just turned off. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes my phone does that. I try to keep it warm, but that didn't work. So I used my phone for this shot, but this is the Super Sparrow sports bottle. I put the boiling water in it, and I want to see if it's still warm. Let me test it out. It's still very warm. It's look, it's steaming. So it's about I'd say the temperature of a hot tap water. I put it in there boiling, and after a night of extremely cold, it's still warm. The biggest thing I wanted to do is have this for when I drink in the morning. Like, I like to have like a good drink of water in the morning just to get me going before my coffee, and you don't have to worry about frozen water with these. So I'll definitely be taking all Super Sparrow bottles on these winter trips. Oh man, I definitely need some coffee. Warm me up, and then want a nice caffeine punch. So I decided to go with the Death Wish coffee. This stuff has 300 milligrams of caffeine in it. There's a nice punch, get me going. This was actually sent to me from Booger Butt and Booger Butt. It's Flat Top Dave and LJ. They have a review channel. I'll put a link down below. You can check them out, but this coffee is a lifesaver. But definitely the coldest and most ambitious trip I've taken so far. I made it so far, but I almost It was getting so cold until I got my coffee. I didn't want to make breakfast. I wanted to pack up and kind of get out of here, but fire's warming me up, coffee's warming me up. It's time to make some steak and eggs. Okay, this is where I felled the tree yesterday, and you can see it's gone. I cannot express how much wood you actually need to keep a fire going consistently in this cold weather. Every time I think I have enough, I don't, but the fact that I cut this entire tree up and still didn't have enough, plus all the other stuff I gathered, goes to show. I'm doing the same thing I did for breakfast as I did for dinner. I cut some pieces of wood off, just the right length so it'll hold my grill, and then I drag out the coals and borrow them to cook some food. So I have some butter melting, and then just getting the pot ready to make some eggs. So kind of do the Cliff Notes version of this. I've done the over easy egg crystals. Actually, Jack and Trade sent me some. I pre-measured it in. I'm going to mix it in there, and then I'm going to take the steak and chunk it up. This is left over from last night. Place it in the eggs when they're about done, and have a nice steak and egg breakfast. And then I also have some cheese spread with jalapenos because it always goes good. Then just kind of coat the pan. That way nothing sticks. Now the French mess kit actually is non-stick, which is really awesome. So that's a nice touch, and that's why I want to cook my eggs in it, because it usually sticks to other mess kits. Got my over easy egg crystals mixed up. It's a nice consistency, almost like a pancake consistency. Let's go ahead and dump them in and start cooking my eggs. Then we can chunk up that steak. Now you just chunk your steak up however size you want. It's kind of frozen right now, so I'm going to get it in the eggs right away to warm it up. Steak and eggs cooking up really good. Just going to make sure and stir. And that non-stick pan really helps. And the butter. Warming that steak up too. Okay, there's our finished product. The over easy egg crystals work great. Cooked up perfect. I can't even tell they're powdered eggs. I can't wait to try it. You can add the steak seasoning if you want, just because you have steak in it. And then I have, I'm going to add the jalapeno cheese spread now. Alright, so I got a piece of steak, some egg, and the cheese, and I put some seasoning on it as well. Absolutely perfect breakfast. Oh man, I can't even express how good this breakfast is. The steak is very tender. The eggs have a great texture to them. The seasoning and that jalapeno cheese, just great. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and we'll talk more in final thoughts. Okay, so final thoughts on the overnight, the gear, and the food. The overnight, using a hammock. Can you do it? Yes. I do not recommend it though, unless you have the proper gear and you're pretty experienced with the cold weather. It was one of the hardest sleeping setups I've done to stay warm, and I mean, I definitely would recommend an underquilt. A lot of people said you probably need that, and I said, oh, I'll try it without it. Yeah, you definitely need it. So overall, I made it. Do I recommend it? Probably not. I mean, it is recommended to stay 40 degrees Fahrenheit or above, and it got to warm last night, and it was, I could tell. But overall, the gear is what helped me make it. So starting off with I think this Arcturus outdoor gear tarp reflector. Without this reflector, I'm not sure if I would have been able to stay warm enough to stay. I mean, there's a couple times where I was getting ready to say, oh, I'm going to call it. It's too cold. But I just tried things, stoked the fire, tried things a little different. You know, I got the hot hands out for my gloves, got my Arctic coat to cover my head, and just kept on trying to remember things that would help out. Now, I did run the long fire. That was nice, but I would have been better off running the Siberian log fire. I think I burned a couple trees just trying to stay warm, whereas that Siberian log fire has front heat displacement. I think I lost a lot of heat out the back. I mean, if you look at the fire pit, it's melted all the way around, where that Siberian log fire, all the heat's coming up front. And it just, as far as burn time, it's way more efficient. So again, the gears will help me survive, help me stay warm. The reflective tarp worked good. And then these, I think they're Kemimoto heated socks. I'll put a link down below. These are awesome. Now, they worked great on low for about 8 hours, and then the batteries died. It's only recommended for 7 to 8 hours on the low setting, and then you lose about an hour for medium. I think it's 5 to 6, and then it's high, it's like 4 to 5. Medium and high is way too hot for me, and I think you'll agree. It's the whole bottom of your front pad of your foot is warmed. Works great. Definitely recommend these for overnights and cold. But I'm also going to use them like sometimes when I'm editing. In my workstation, my feet get cold. You can just throw these on and stay warm at home too. Now, the Super Sparrow bottles. These are fantastic. I recommend these extreme. I mean, the whole fact that I could put water in it, boiling water, and then have water in the morning without worrying about it freezing and not have to keep it with me out of the way, that's huge on these double wall technology bottles, the insulated bottles. Now, each one has its own application. This is the smallmouth. There's the sports bottle, which is more for like working out because it's not insulated, but it's, holds a lot of water, and it would be for like summer camping or hiking or work, whatever you have that for. And then there's the standard mouth, which is the big insulated bottle as well. So all have their applications. I recommend all these. The links will down below. You got to check them out. If you need a water bottle for camping, hiking, just want a water bottle, I recommend these. Check them out. Now, as far as the food, surf and turf out here, awesome. Having the shrimp and the steak was filet mignon. I tell you what, that was awesome cooking out there, and then just learning how to cook over a campfire, and then carry that into breakfast and take the leftover steak, cut it up, put in the eggs. Couldn't beat it. I mean, I ate like a king out here. And like I said, I had second thoughts about breakfast because I was getting ready to just pack up and go, but I drank that coffee, and that got me going. So that was really nice. But overall, great trip. I learned a lot. Again, a lot of these are just learning experiences and just kind of figuring things out. Even though it was a very challenging trip, I still had a lot of fun, and I still learned a lot. That's all I can ask for. So that's all I got now. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.